Hello, my name is Gabe. For this problem, we're asked to use Gaussian elimination and back substitution to solve this system of equations. So let's begin by first rewriting the system of equations as an augmented matrix. So we can write this as a matrix with our first row being 1, 2, -3, and -28. Our second row, since we have 0x, we'll start with a 0, 4, 2, and then a 0. And for our third row, we'll have -1, 1, -1, and -5. So here we have our augmented matrix representing this system. Now what we want to do is we want to try to write this matrix in echelon form. So we already have a 1 up in the upper left-hand corner, but what we can do from here is we can go ahead and we can add the first row to the third row in order to clear out this -1. So let's go ahead and we'll do R1 plus R3, and we'll place it into the third row. So in doing so, our first row will remain the same. 1, 2, -3, -28. Our second row will remain the same as 0, 4, 2, 0. And we're adding the first row to the third row. So we have a 1 plus a -1 is 0. We'll have 2 plus 1 will be 3. We'll have -3 plus -1 is -4. And we have -28 plus -5 is -33. So next, our goal is going to be to try to get a 0 in the third row and the second column. Since we can't multiply 4 by an integer to get 3, or multiply 3 by an integer to get 4, let's go ahead and let's multiply the second row by 3 and multiply the third row by 4. So we'll go 3 times row 2 into row 2, and we'll go 4 times row 3 into row 3. So what this leaves us with is the matrix where the first row is 1, 2, -3, -28. The second row, I said we're multiplying by 3, so it's 0, 12, we're going to have 6, and 0. And in the third row, we're going to have 0, 12. Here we're multiplying -4 by 4, so we'll have a -16. And we're multiplying -33 by 4, so that will be -132. Now what we can do is we can clear out this entry right here by taking the third row, subtracting the second row, and placing it back into this row. So we'll look for R3 minus R2. I'll place it back into the third row. What we're left with is the matrix 1, 2, -3, -28. Our second row remains the same, so our second row is still 0, 12, 6, 0. And since we're subtracting the second row from our third row and placing it back into the third row, we have 0, 12 minus 12 is 0, -16 minus 6 is -22, and -132 minus 0 is -132. So our third row becomes 0, 0, -22, -132. Now since we're trying to write our matrix in row echelon form, we need to multiply the second row by 1/12, and we need to multiply the third row by 1 divided by -22, or 1 divided by 22. So we'll multiply the second row by 1/12 and place this back in the second row. And we'll multiply the third row by -1 divided by 22 and place this back in the third row. Now in doing so, what we're left with is the matrix where the first row remains the same. So it's 1, 2, -3, -28. The second row, we're multiplying by 1/12. So our first entry is 0. 12 divided by 12 is 1. 6 divided by 12 is 1/2. And 0 divided by 12 is 0. And in the third row, we're dividing everything by -22, or multiplying everything by -1 divided by 22. So our first two entries are 0. -22 multiplied by -1 divided by 22 is 1. And finally, -1 divided by 22 times -132 is 6. So now our system is in row echelon form, and we can rewrite this as a system of equations. So the system of equations that this system gives us is x plus 2y minus 3z is equal to -28. The second row of this matrix gives us the equation y plus 1/2 z is equal to 0. And the third row of this matrix gives us the equation z is equal to 6. So at this stage, we can use back substitution to solve for z, y, and x. So we have that z is equal to 6 from our system of equations. And we can take this and substitute it into the second equation to solve for y. So we know that y plus 1/2 times z, which we know to be 6, is equal to 0. Simplifying, this equation becomes y plus 3 equals 0. Here, we can subtract 3 from both sides of the equation to solve for y, which leaves us with y is equal to -3. Now that we have both y and z solved for, we can substitute this back into the first equation to solve for x. So the first equation says that x plus 2 times y, which we just found to be -3, minus 3 times z, which we said was 6, is equal to -28. Simplifying, we have x minus 6 minus 18 is equal to -28. And here, if we go ahead and we add 24 to both sides of the equation, we have x is equal to -4. So our solution to our original system is x equals -4, y equals -3, and z equals 6. Thank you.